It just seems very, very straightforward the way that they want to go about doing this, and they've
10
got
seconds
multiple ways to
remaining.
deal with this Bane, which I like. I think in two different games that we saw
5
yesterday,
seconds
Bane was
remaining.
able to just sit back and do whatever the hell he wanted. So I'm happy that they've addressed that somehow because it pains me to say it, but you got to take out these supports at the start of a lot of these team fights because they're easy pickoffs. Every time a team just runs face first into like a Tide Hunter, I'm like, why are you
10
doing that? There's a
seconds
hero that's going to
remaining.
die 3 times as fast on the sidelines, but you know,
5 seconds
it's
Would
remaining.
very different when you're in the high stress environment of a professional game.
would you prefer maybe a carry that's able to take Roshan a little bit easier though? Like them being on Radiant and Storm being a really good Aegis carrier? Like, is that something you're taking into consideration?
Potentially. I mean, Razor's not bad, right? Like the Eye of the Storm does minus armor, so it's a decent way to be able to take it.
Yeah, I just didn't know where you'd put him in the likes of like a Wraith King, Luna, continue to go down the list of carries that can provide that Ursa. So for
I think,
Yangon, it's
I mean, Ursa wouldn't be horrible actually, but I feel like the Luna is you're going to get outranged and like what would you call it, chipped down by a lot of these heroes. Like Lena outranges you, Quap can just skirmish, come in and out, Kunkka can X marks and just like Tidebringer you and then walk on back. So it's very hard to just stand in place as this Luna and actually do something.
yep.
That's why I really like the Razor, considering you can just run straight forward into a team fight and there's nothing that they can do to stop you, provided that you get rid of this Bane, and they've got the tools to do that.
Well, luckily enough for Yangon, they had plenty of reserve time to be able to burn through here with this last pick.
Dire team
Still
pick.
questioning on how Motivate are going to look to play the draft, then okay, they end up going for a Morphling here. So there's a lot of burst potential, which is always a little bit worrying, but not the easiest way to initiate on the Morphling.
Yeah,
10 seconds remaining.
it's going to require that
Five
crazy
seconds
I'm
remaining.
going to say it, fearless style where you're playing this Queen of Pain, even though the Quap's most likely going to be Masteros's hero, where you're just like jumping in onto the back lines, trying to get a silence in onto the Morphling once you get the Aghanim shard, and then look to burst him down with the Lena and the Kunkka. But yeah, it is a little challenging. I am worried about them in terms of durability on Motivate.Trust. Like, if you take out the Bane, you don't have a save, you're relying on Kunkka to hit you with a great boat combination, so you've got the rum ticking on you, so you're not dying quite as quickly. And I feel like it's very hard to kill everyone on Yangon except for the Lion. The IO is protected because they've got no one to dive on the back lines. Storm, I mean, I guess he's a little bit squishier, but they don't have any instant lockdown outside of the Fiend's grip. And Night Stalker can fly over trees, Morphling very tanky. So I actually quite like Yangon's lineup so far.
Same. I'm in agreement as well. I'm just thinking to see, like at the moment, I feel like it's a potential Q hero to put the Clop as a 3, but there's no 4s that really stand out that's left to deal with the Morphling and Storm as well. So maybe you put Queen of Pain as a position 4 and then still go for your Masteros here, and they will. So
You may now
you now at
select your
least have a way
heroes.
to initiate, and you was kind of speaking about their issues with jumping the backline as well. Stampede does make that easier. Not to mention, Yangon are also lacking stun, so if Night Stalker does initiate, Mastros can kind of reset the fight around Stampede, even though Dark Ascension is a long duration, so you're still going to have this advantage, but Night Stalker really wants to jump in, burst the hero, then fly off to the wings and, try and see who we can jump on next. So that's a big advantage that Centaur can provide you.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that, actually. They are lacking in stuns, so it's going to be hard to lock down onto a target, and you don't really want to be Lion's not going to be in a position to blink in and stun a Bane, right? Because if you do that, you're basically just giving up your life to the other heroes. So it makes it a little bit more challenging. For mine, it is still Operation Kill Bane, and probably for Motivate.Trust, it's stop the Night Stalker from having a high level of impact. You're not going to be able to stop him in the laning stage just because, Skill A is there on his IO. He's going to be making him quite formidable. So yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty even one. And we're going to get to see Savage play for Motivate.Trust for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, it's going to be
Last time
exciting.
was what, after was he on Fnatic for a little bit, and then he was removed from that, and then I think he did a few stand-ins here and there.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's been quite a while.
yeah, I was gonna say like I vaguely remember Savage standing in for a little bit for Motivate, but I couldn't
Him and Jabs, they make a habit of it, and whenever they're like between teams, Motivate.Trust is their temporary home.
Motivate there. Well, a friendly bunch of people whenever we get the chance to do some interviews with them. We do have a pause at the moment. So wait till we get back underway here. So how are we feeling about this game one draft? A lot of flexibility from Motivate. They end up pushing the Queen of Pain to position 4 and going for Masros with the last pick Centaur. And for Yangon, we see another Ira draft with some comfort as well. It looks like, Case H, very familiar with the Morphling. He's level 27 on this hero, so comfort for him as well. But how do we feel about this game one?
Um, I don't know. I think it's pretty even, to be perfectly honest. I think it's just going to come down to the team fight execution. When it comes down to the mid lane here, it's going to be Young PH taking on the Lina. That's probably a little bit Lina favored. When you think about the top lane, it's probably going to be, even with coming up against the IO, like Bane, Kunkka, very strong lane. So I feel like maybe they'll have a little bit of an edge there on Motivate. And side lanes, it's hard to say, right? Because you've got this position for Queen of Pain. If you sit back and be a little bit too passive, Q could just get quite farmed. You've got a lot of those potentials with the Scream of Pain to cut waves, which he loves to do. He does it whenever he's playing his Mirana, his Weaver, his Dawnbreaker. Pop's one of the other ones that's quite good at that as well. So I feel like Yangon Galacticos, they're going to need to try and set a little bit more of an aggressive pace and see if they can win a few team fights to get their BKBs online on the Morphling. Actually, mostly the Night Stalker. Night Stalker's the one that needs it by far the most. And if he's able to get it, then they're going to be in a pretty good spot to be able to take a few of these early team fights and transition that into some key objectives.
How do you feel like they're going to look to enable the Night Stalker? Is this maybe off the back of Young PH prioritizing his rotations to top instead of maybe the safe lane?
It's so hard to kill a Conquer, though. That's the thing. He's going a very tanky style of build, just a couple of gauntlets of strength. Of course, it helps with last hitting, but also the right click potential there. Just going straight into the armlet, but still, it's just so hard to kill him, especially when you've got the Bane to be able to stop any kind of engagements. So honestly, I would probably try and farm as much of. Can you kill the Lina though? I'm just trying to think like where's the best place for them to gank, because it's not easy. Like you said, they're lacking in stun. So if they make a rotation to try and kill a relatively squishier hero in Q, if he blinks away, that's all for nothing, right? And it's a huge time wasted to not kill a support. Top side, a lot more challenging. Do you make a rotation just to kill a Bane? Not really, but they don't have the strongest heroes to rotate to mid either. So maybe it's going to be around that 5-minute mark when you've got that first night time. You can come in with the IO, you can gank the Lina before she gets incredibly strong, and then use that to snowball.
Yeah. It definitely does feel like, though, Motivate, I'd probably give them the edge in a majority of the lanes. I'd say actually all 3 lanes, I'd give them the edge. I know you spoke about the Lina Storm Spirit, but with this bottom lane, Morphling and the Lion, these are 2 very, very squishy range heroes, and I'm a bit worried. Zorain's going to have to hold his Earth Spike for whenever the Centaur and Queen of Pain start to get aggressive, but if they are able to find the advantage with the creep equilibrium on Motivate and put the Lion in a really compromised position where he's kind of unable to play off the back of pulls and really enable KSH, and I think they're going to be in some trouble down bot for Yangon.
We shall see. It was a pretty passive way. They traded the bounty runes, but oh well.
Come on, where are the fights? I've been so surprised. Over in Eastern Europe, all I'm seeing is 5-man fights at the start. In Southeast Asia, everyone's just a bunch of wussies. No one wants to fight right now. I'm like, what's going on? This is not what I've come to love. Just gotta pull your heads in, lads. This is the Sea Dota that you all wanted to experience. The MVP Phoenix days of just balling up and running at heroes. Where's that? Want that? See how Savage is able to get fair as well. Like we said, he has kind of had some stints with Motivate in the past, standing in. But playing with the Bane, this is going to be an exceptionally strong lane for Night Stalker. Excited to see how he's going to fare for the first 5 minutes. Definitely a hero that's one of his weakest stages throughout the game. But with an IO pairing, you do kind of offset some of those disadvantages. He's one of the few heroes that kind of change concepts in Dota completely.
Absolutely. I mean, anytime that there's just a hero that basically cheats with their map movement, it's going to be incredibly strong. You know, that's why Keeper of the Light was strong for such a huge portion of time. That's why Chen was strong for such a big portion of time. It's because they had that recall ability that meant that you didn't have to play around this 80-second TP control. Topside, they're making a little bit of play onto skill A, but it's just so hard to kill him.
Sorry, you want to... Yeah, you want to say that again? I mean, mid lane, Gotcha Boy's about to go down as well. Playing off the back of the bottle tricks here, so... I really would not expect, though, the Lina to be the one almost under threat of dying. You did speak about, though, young PH is an exceptional player, so... Already showing that he can maybe offset some of the trickier matchups.
You love seeing that, like, again, just a little bit of a cheat, again, right? The IO TP's in, he's still got the Fountain Regen, tethers up onto the Storm Spirit, and refills the bottle. It's basically as good as 2 runes.
This is, of course, a bit unfortunate giving up first blood, but now it gives young PH an opportunity to utilize this level 4 with even more resources to pressure Gotcha Boy. I wouldn't be surprised if Storm kind of continues to posture aggressively under the tower. I mean, with double range creeps, but looks like he's going to use this time. Yeah, that's good enough. All right. Yeah, mid's looking really good for Storm Spirit at the moment. So Gotcha Boy is just going to make the trip all the way back to the base. How's bottom lane looking at the moment? MG.Trust 13-3 compared to the 14-1. So it looks like both cores are getting their farm down bottom.
Talk about those high hero levels. I mean, just have a look at Motivate.Trust. Like, platinums and golds across the board. It's they play a lot of Dota. You know, you could say a lot about Motivate.Trust. You can't say that they don't try. You know, they are constantly spamming pubs. They're constantly playing this game, always trying to be better in any sort of way.
Should be able to pick up their second kill of the game as well, as Massa gonna try and cut off the line. Oh, KSH a little bit off the mark there with the deny, unfortunately, though. So, gonna put the lion in the grave for 10 seconds, and we'll see if he's able to bring back any items to kind of help the Morphling here. But already they're thinking about cutting the wave and putting some extra pressure on the Morphling, considering he's lacking any regen.
Oh, Lina, mid lane.
Oh, Gotcha Boy with the rotation from Zorain. Once again, another support looking to help out this trickier matchup, but Gotcha Boy is going to be able to survive on a slither of health, and now he's even got the water rune to play off the back of too. Zorain's going to be a bit cautious.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I think his positioning is just fine, right? He's just trying to scare away the Lina so that she loses an entire wave of experience here. You gotta make sure you don't die.
Gotta make sure you don't get brought down. I mean, not missing the LSA. Gotcha Boy's probably just gonna go for the kill with Dragon Slate back up.
Why not?
He's got faster movement speed and he'll find it. So that's double Fairy Fire used to try and keep the lion alive. I mean, you still do lose Gotcha Boy in the end, but he's missing a lot of creeps, like you said, though.
That's okay, yeah. He missed an entire creep wave into the tower. He's going to miss another wave right now. He got a kill, but it was just on the support. And most importantly, young PH was able to hit up onto his level 6. So, unfortunately, Lion had just died, so he's not going to have that TP to refill the bottle immediately. But he should be just fine. Got a lot delivered through to him as well. Finished up the Soul Ring, had a couple of clarity sent through, so young PH is doing great.
And how do you feel like it's looking like an overall, is it a good Storm Spirit game here, considering the lane that he's had? Or were you kind of expecting it to be rough because he wasn't going to really get out ahead because of the matchup?
I think it's always a great Storm Spirit game if you've got people that you need to jump on the backlines. And, you mentioned one of the issues when you pick up this Centaur, in that you can just stampede away from any Night Stalker dive. Well, not if you've got the Storm Spirit there as well. It's a lot to commit, sure, onto just a Bane, but it's the sort of thing that you kind of need to do if you're looking to enable your team fight and take away a lot of your enemy team's crowd control as well.
Top lane. That Stalker shouldn't end up going down. Savage has already used the boat, but with Boo to be able to set up thanks to the Night Metric and Savage. A nice timing of the kill as well, considering they've got the catapult wave. So Conker's going to use this opportunity to try and shove the lane out and just do a little bit of extra damage to the tower. See if he tanks it up. Yes, he will now. Towards a triangle though, Boombui. Trying to take away some of the stacks, or maybe just the experience away from the Storm Spirit. Even Garchboy is looking to rotate on over as well. Laguna cuts down the Storm Spirit. Now they can turn over the IO as well, as Savage connecting on the Torrent gives him the opportunity to get the price for the 2-for-1. And oh, would you look at that?
It pings out, and it's going to be a rotation coming through here from Night Stalker, but too little, too late. That's a big loss there, and you could just see why teams are happy to pick up whenever they've got Savage playing for them. McCunker in that first phase, he has already established a 1,000 net worth lead over his opposing carry, so he's having a fantastic start to this game. It's another one of those reasons why I was really wanting to get one of those heroes that does a good job against the Conquer, and Razor is that. But obviously, they're a very skilled team with the Morphling, so putting the trust in KSH to be able to do it his own way.
Getting bodied out of this lane at the moment though. Masteros and Q. Sure, it's very difficult to secure any last hits. I mean, look at the damage that he has at the moment. 102 on the Centaur. Even though KSH is playing with the Quelling Blade as well, but it's not really going to give him too much assistance. You're saying he's have to play around with the full Agimorph here just to have some opportunity to out CS the Centaur.
Challenging, like I said before, Masteros. He knows the ins and outs of Centaur to perfection. Platinum tier on the hero, of course, and it just makes it such a challenging lane. I mean, normally you're actually all right to play into this as the Morphling, but it's just been a really good bullying performance here by Q. I mean, he hasn't died a single time. That's what I was saying before. You are a little bit more vulnerable when you're playing this Quap, but
Step lively now.
good with your positioning like Q has been so far.
We did speak about Motivate having a bit of an advantage in all the lanes here, and it kind of felt like it was even at some stage. Like Yangon, they were doing exceptionally well to at least offset some of the difficulties we were expecting them to have, as Zorain should be chased down under the secret shop. Garchboy would love to get involved as well to continue stacking up his kills and get closer towards the Boots of Travel. He's now about 400 gold away. I was just gonna say, like, it definitely felt like Motivate didn't really, like, they played the lanes, it felt like even, but just the rotations, really that triangle movement from them where they, got the Night Stalker, then their 2 extra kills plus, the quad stack or triple, and that's really where we saw the net worth skyrocket.
On the top side, though, you'd say that they're, I was
Invisibility.
about to say reasonably happy with how Night Stalker's farm has been, but when you compare it to Savage's, not exactly.
I don't know if you kill Savage. Yeah, like trying to invade the jungle with a Conker, who's level 9 at the moment. 1900 health when he has the armlet popped, so yes, he has gonna have to force the boat out defensively. Meanwhile, mid lane, Young PH, however, diving deep on Boombui. They're gonna use the first Dark Ascension as well. They're gonna continue to chase down Savage, but he'll just TP out straight in their faces, and now they're going to have to turn their attention to the Bane instead, as Boombui will still end up going down. So 1-for-1, but
they can do this. They can go right now. They've got the regen on Young PH. You've still got a little bit of the duration left on the Dark Ascension, and wisely enough, Motivate, they're going to back up.
Dire's structures are fortified.
But it is around this catapult timing, so the TP was used by Bane to try and join in there on the outpost when they were going onto the Conquer, so they should know that they don't have that available to them.
Well, Savage is back though. Nice usage as well. Seele tried to time it to perfection with the tether away, but Savage not going to give him that opportunity there. So the Conquer gets back involved, kind of cuts down this opportunity to put out a lot of damage to the tier 1 tower mid, and continuing on with a strong start as well. 1-0-3, and about to be Boots of Travel completed as well. And I mean, simultaneously, Massa is already taking the bottom tier 1.
You're kind of like this unavoidable annoyance whenever you're playing this.
Top lane,
right? Like
Boombui, he just found a Fiend script for out of the fog there, Morphling. Maybe they just saw Q and didn't think the Bane was nearby, but Really nicely done, finding KSH before he's able to get the attribute shift, and we see the Irish still not playing around with the carry at the moment, so they're still going to look to take the fight though. Young PH looking to start at the moment, but he's still going to be cautious. They've got a lot of burst potential. Sonic Wave drop, Laguna Blade to help, and I mean, now even Savage is going to look to make his movement over with the early boots of travel, as it's all Motivate to start this game.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Yeah, I think their priority with who they've been going on has just been a little off on Yangon, right? You could tell I was tossing and turning it up in my head a little bit when you asked me, you know, what's the play to be able to make the best out of this lane where you're at a disadvantage against the Lina? I was like, well, maybe you can gank the Kunkka, but no, not really. Oh, maybe you can gank the Bane, she's pretty survivable and it's not really worth it. Oh, maybe you can gank the Cop, that's not really worth it either, right? So the fact that they haven't really gone for the Lina lane, I mean, it means that Gacha Boy, of course, you have a stronger lane in general, and now he's 7-1 so far. So he's already had a fantastic start and a great way to be able to transition this good start to the game into sieging towers.
Yeah, and it feels like for Yangon, I mean, you've got a position 5 line who's still only level 4. So maybe that could have been a different fight if you have the Finger of Death just to burst the hero down. Like, I think you really have to give some emphasis now on getting Zorain to level 6. And not even only just that, like, how do you make plays pre-blink online? You're going to be really relying on the Night Stalker, but he's building to a Spirit Vessel. So yes, it's great versus Centaur. Yes, it's great versus the Conquer. But
I mean, you say it's great versus the Conquer, but you just buy BKB and it's worthless.
100%. He's so farmed that it's like, is it that good now? Feels like you have to get a really early Spirit Vessel timing, and Conquer has to have a bad game. Otherwise, you go really early BKB, and like you said, it's useless.
And it's very hard to kill him in that sort of scenario, right? Like, you got to be perfect with your chain lockdown, and we talked about one of the weaknesses for Yangon. They don't have great lockdown. So you can see right now that 23 Savage, in terms of what he's got queued up, he's going for the Silver Edge first, just for that little bit of extra damage. He wants to be constantly a pressure on the map. As long as he's invisible, you're constantly playing in fear. But after that, the BKB is queued up. I feel like maybe after the Shadow Blade, he'll look to change that up into going into the BKB instead of the full Silver Edge if this Spirit Vessel is completed, and he should see it very shortly. So I think that might be the go for him, just to make sure that he's not dying quicker than he should in a lot of these fights.
What do we feel like the route back into this game is, though, for Yangon? Are they just looking to try and farm as much as possible and wait till that second night time and maybe make a play off the back of that?
I mean, they can play a play right now, right? They've got the Spirit Vessel now on the Night Stalker, provided he gets the last hit. There we go. Got it shooting out to him now. I think he can make a play now just with the Dark Ascension, because it's going to turn into night after the fact anyway. So that's going to be all well and good, but you can't go on the center. It feels like, to me, it has to be Lina that you're going on in a lot of these engagements, and she's barely farmed herself. She's got the boots of travel, she's got a regen bottle building into the BKB for herself, and she's pretty damn close to finishing it. Feels out a little bit here that they're a little bit grouped up, you know, not too often that you see a Lion paired together with a Night Stalker farming in front of their tier 2 tower. So it makes it a little bit obvious, even though they're drawing on the map where they want to be, they're kind of restricted because they've just got this big body of a Centaur in their way.
Well, let's see if they can blow him up. Boo is going to give the opportunity for the Nightmare Trick, and now Stampede used to reposition exactly what we were speaking about to enter the Dark Ascension. So now you've got no Spirit Vessel charges as well, and we've seen how difficult it is for them to find these kills. So now you probably have to blow up a support with Finger of Death, get that charge for the Night Stalker, and then maybe look to a core afterwards.
I think you just wait. You just wait out the Dark Ascension. You don't really care about not having the Stampede, but now you've got the Blink Dagger as well on Masteros, so this is definitely a big timing coming through from Motivate, and they realize it. They smoke up just as the Dark Ascension bears out. They're going to go for a little bit of a wraparound here, and it's going to be Zorain that ends up popping it, so nicely done by him. It's going to save a lot of his cores, but it still sets up Motivate.Trust to be able to take control over the map even more so than they've already done.
And when do Dai feel like they're in a position where they can take Roshan? Because they've got a 9,000 net worth lead, so like, what are they waiting for in regards to be able to put that one on the map?
I think you're always a little bit worried just around the nighttime sort of period. Maybe they're just waiting for that classic DD outside the Roche pit to be able to make it happen.
Okay, so he's just able to find the Lincolns. Of course, they do have a decent amount of AoE stuns, however. They're going to be cautious they don't use all of them, though, so the Morphling can TP out. It's going to go for it now, but Masteros... Oh, he's going to be able to find him through the tree line, so... Now the Morphling stuck with no opportunity to be able to TP out, so he's going to have to rely on the Eye to get back involved, but like you said, they've already played off the relocate. Getting some assistance, waveform out. What's happening down bottom, though? Oh, big Sonic Wave. Zoran in trouble. Turns with the Finger of Death, but it's not going to matter as Gacha Boy. He's still got the BKB in the arsenal, and the rest of Yangon. I mean, you're playing off the Night Stalker to be able to TP in, but you know there's no assistance from the Morphling at this stage in the game. So Gacha Boy stands his ground and rips apart a second.
Dangerous. He's a little low here on Savage. They pop the dust. Oh, actually,
yeah,
low.
Okay.
Radiant's middle
I was gonna say, I don't know if you get this kill, but it's a bit of awkward timing there with the armlet toggle, and very nicely done.
He's a lot more killable if you've got that level 2 Storm ultimate, just to be able to zip in from long range, do a lot of damage at the end point there. And as well, he doesn't have the boat available, or he didn't have the mana for the boat, rather. So that's a big part of his survivability as well.
Mid lane. They're trying to start the fight on the Night Stalker, though, so it's going to put Q in a bit of a compromised position as Young PH reveals the Orchid, so they turn it back around. Now they're eyeing up Masteros as well. Another kill getting bled from Motivate, and I mean, Night Stalker's not done just yet. They're going to turn their attention to Boom Booey. He's got Gacha Boy being a bit of a deterrent for the Night Stalker at the moment. Looks like with the safety of the tier 2.
2 charges left on the Spirit Vessel. He's just being a flying ward right now for the rest of the team. Savage, be careful.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
That's certainly the comeback that they needed. Just being able to catch out one of these squishier heroes in Q at the very start of that engagement. Just his first death.
They're still stalking Savage.
I don't think you can. Not without Dark Ascension and not without the mana on Young PH.
Imagine that, though. You kill Savage twice in a row, couple other kills, get the tier 1 tower. All of a sudden, Yangon. I mean, yeah, it still would have been probably 6,000 deficit, but you start to build some momentum.
It's quite nice for a lot of that burst potential that they're needing. Zip in, buffs up the Finger of Death as well for the follow-up. Very nice.
Radiant are
Is
scanning.
that smoke? They've missed the double damage on the bottom side. Hopefully for Motivate.Trust's sake, that's not going to be what costs them.
They will run into Zoran. Should reveal the ward on the high ground. And they instantly ping it up. And now, where else are they eyeing up? Top lane, Boom Booey. He's found the setup on the Storm. He's going to be able to get rid of the Nightmare. And it looks like they'll just have to result in getting a much easier kill on the Ball of Light there. Again, when you're starting to eye up Roshan, maybe if they saw the DD down bottom, they'd feel a little bit easier to do so. But, I mean, Gacha Boy level 16, Massa can tank, so they're just going to move on in.
Why not, right? Like, you've got such a strong lineup right now. I think the big thing that they were waiting for was that little bit of extra farm on the Lina. You know, she's got the Shadow Blade, she's got the BKB now, feeling very confident of just being able to be this turret, basically, just constantly sieging in a lot of these fights, and they're just using so much of their resources to try and take out the Bane and take out the Kunkka that Lina's allowed to do whatever the hell she wants. Like, this is an ideal game for a mid player. 0 assists, that's exactly what you want.
10, 1, and 0. Let's go, Gacha Boy. Just KS everything. Good old
No one
Lina.
ended up taking that DD, by the way. It just disappeared. Changed it into an arcane rune.
Something that Gacha Boy is able to work around with, though. Whenever a DD's on the map, either side is just homing missile towards that area. They're like, holy, this can just change the status quo of a fight. What does KSH got at the moment? Alright, Yasha after the Lincolns. He's sticking around
Oh,
there.
damn.
Yeah.
Oh, damage. That's the big downside that he's got right now. Like, where is the damage going to come from? It basically needs to be entirely Young PH that's doing it. A little bit careful here. You know, multiple invis. I've got a Aghanim Shard queued up yet for Q. Doesn't quite. Looking to go into the Yule Scepter, maybe just trying to survive if the Night Stalker gets on top of him.
What do you think about the Manta on the Morphling actually? Like, what is this gonna do to help keep him alive? Because there's not the greatest things he can really purge off. Maybe just the
Stupendous.
to.
They've got a vessel on the quad.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I was just thinking, because maybe if you play off the back of E-Blade, you just jump someone, finger death, shotgun, your Storm as well, look to blow up a hero. But yeah, like you said, I mean, if the... I didn't really say the Spirit Vessel on Q, didn't click on that, so... That's a big factor to be able to get rid of here. So he's going to be closing in on this item relatively shortly, but it definitely feels like... I mean, the side of Yangon going to continue to play off the back of kind of just a mistake. I mean... What, Lion's closing in on Blink, so maybe when Zorain completes this, you look to get a pick off across the map. That is definitely the one thing that I lineups always thrive on, is just this, +2 factor, sometimes +1 to the side lanes, and then you're really just looking to split up the map and make it difficult for Motivate to ball up and take a team fight.
I mean, IO Storm Spirit is tale as old as time, basically, like constantly being picked together just because of what it enables in terms of your pick-off potential. I like the fact that you've got Night Stalker sitting up here, and they know that Gacha Boy is coming, so I wonder if this might be a relocate play.
See. He's got the Aegis, but they're more than happy to get rid of the first life. There's the relocate. Let's see if they can do it a second time as well. They've got the ward in the lane too, so they're going to see the rest of Motivate coming on over. Stampede to reposition, but he didn't pop the BKB. He's got to do so now afterwards, and Gacha Boy playing with about half health of the relocate. They brought them out of the area, but unfortunately the Morphling, they didn't bring him. KSH still gonna go down. A 1-for-1 when it's all said and done with, but oh, you didn't bring out the Morphling.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate, that's for sure, but yeah, probably wasn't expecting rather that he would just be left there on his lonesome. So it's a bit of a rough spot. You don't want your Morphling dying for free like that consistently. At least now he's finished up the Manta style, which is nice. Just a little bit of that ghost push as well, but you've got great ways to deal with it, right? The Conqueror in particular, he's even gone the Boots of Travel on 23 Savage, so he's constantly alongside Fearless, pushing out these lanes with relative ease.
And they've got so many ways to push the side lanes. Like, Centaur's really strong. I guess he doesn't really want to show on the lane, though, because he's kind of their initiator. But, Conquer, Boots of Travel, like you said, Gacha Boy Boots. And this is the nice thing about having a Queen of Pain support with, he's even only got 2 points in Blink, so he's not as mobile just yet. But you can definitely clear off these lanes and still connect to the team.
Sure. That's really why I value the Aghanim Shard on the Quap as well. You don't need to show yourself in lane for quite as much, right? You just walk to the lane, you scream of pain, and then you just blink out. And the damage that the sonic boom does as a result of the Ag Shard is enough to clear out a full creep wave.
Yeah, and that's a big thing that doesn't really get brought up often, just how long you are actually showing on a lane. If it's maybe like half a second longer, then it gives the team the potential extra yards to gap close, or maybe extra time for them just to catch a glimpse of you across the map. I think it's something really important that I first came to my awareness then when actually when we had the opportunity to cast a couple of the OEDLs a long time ago when Splicker was playing the Tusk position 3, and you were speaking about the shard that you get on Tusk like at the later levels just to enable you to one-hit creep waves with shard and snowball. And he was just saying it's a big factor, like you need to be able to blow the creep wave up fast and then get out and then do something else on the map.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what Lina and Kunkka have itemized for, right? Like Kunkka is incredibly tanky on his own, so it doesn't matter quite as much, but Boots of Travel, Shadowblade, X Marks, like very, very easy to consistently keep a lot of these lanes pushed in. Lion, not the greatest at taking waves. Io, terrible at it. Honestly, even Nightstalker, pretty bad. So it means that Yangon are always playing on the back foot, and that's why they've built up this 11k net worth lead on Motivate.
Yeah, and it definitely feels like there are supports at the moment that are strong, that struggle with dealing with waves and being able to push that out. But it definitely feels like it's a big advantage in your toolkit if you can clear waves. Like, it's just maybe some farm that you're able to get across the map, because often the jungle is designated to your cause. And, I mean, we see, look at the difference in net worth with the Queen of Pain compared to the other supports. Like you said, Io and Lion, they don't have that capability. Whereas Quap, I mean, you skyrocket up. You're 3,000 advantage ahead of both the 4 and 5.
was lucky it was still daytime there on young PH. He stayed next to the wave just as he zipped in. He would have got a glimpse of Boomboy just sitting there with his Fiend's Grip ready. He's actually got a gem of True Sight actually on this Bane, which is quite early, but when you've got this much control, just have a look at Yangon Galacticos' map. It's pretty damn dark. They're forced to go for these wards around the enemy side of the map to enable KSH to continue to farm. So I like how they've adapted to it, but it's certainly not the way that they want to be playing.
I'm a big fan of gems. I will always bring up if I see an early gem that I think this is one of the most undervalued item in Dota. And
I think it's great if you're winning already, but it's so much harder to play around it if you're on the back foot.
like, this is the ideal game for it when you're looking to choke a team out and you know you have an advantage, you know you're really difficult to kill, the enemy team need to play off splitting the map and going for pickoffs, so you just want to give them no ward potential to set up on these side lanes to get these kills. As young PH, that's not, it's going to be off the mark there. It's kind of one of the issues with jumping the Storm Spirit. It can always be a little bit awkward with that hoof stump timer. So Stampede on cooldown.
I'll be honest, I was kind of expecting them to go a lot more aggressive on this top side of the map. Like, you had the Kunkka that had his X-Mark TP up to the top side previously, so you knew he didn't have a TP available. And now you've got like a double damage Lino who's just been wailing away onto your tower. They'll still end up taking it, but probably about 30 seconds later than they should have, which might mean that they're going to be in a bit of a rough spot to be able to defend.
Savage and MG.Trust. Oh, never mind. Bit of misexecution with the abilities, and now Zoran and KSH are actually going to look to blow up the Bane instead. So a quick and easy kill. They'll trade across the map. At least Savage is going to find the gem, though, so they're not giving away a bit of a net worth swing over to Yangon. So all in all, it would be both sides taking a T2 tower.
Yeah, I mean, Motivate already had one, so it's kind of not as big of a deal for them, but it's the mid tower, obviously. Very important. No outer towers remaining. Roshan potentially coming up in 30 seconds is also a big deal. But yeah, it's just those small things, right? Like, not being able to have that +1, because at the time there were 3 heroes on Yangon on the top side, and Skille was connected together with the Morphling who was farming inside, oh, sorry, the Storm who was farming in the triangle. Speaking of Skille, he's just going to feed his life away. But yeah, anytime that you've got the chance to take a 5v4 fight, guaranteed, I think Yangon need to try and do it and force Motivate to make a... try and force them to have an error in communication where they don't say, I don't have TP or something like that.
Let's don't do it again, Night Stalker. Oh, boy, you're not meant to creep. Oh no. I see some pings coming out. I didn't do that, guys. I swear. It was my brother was playing for me.
Congratulations, you beat my little brother. It wasn't me.
Oh. This just feels like a slow, methodical game from Motivate. I mean, Morphling's getting farmed though. Like, is he ever going to be at a stage though where we have to be worried about KSH?
Probably not, to be honest. I feel like it's much more on the Storm Spirit.
I'm going to be able to cancel the TP. Another quick kill. There was a smoke, I believe, so...
Yeah.
Alright, so you feel like this game is going to be more off the back of Storm Spirit and in Young PH to make the plays?
Yeah, and to be fair, Night Stalker hasn't really done much of anything either. You know, he's been involved in, what, 4 kills so far? Hasn't fed too much of his lives away, but it is always a concern when it's nearly 30 minutes and you don't have a BKB. I feel like the Blink Dagger isn't quite as much of a necessity this game, just when your main target's that Bane.
See how they're able to use the Dark Ascension, and then with that information here from Yangon, how they can play according to find the Bane. They're going to look to smoke up once again. Pain will be respawning shortly and Motivate. They're making sure they all group up as 4. There we go. There's the vision, instantly smoked. Night Stalker's going to be able to pop this though. Zoran jumping in the middle, but they haven't run into Boom Boy just yet. And jumping anyone but the Bane, and we see how difficult it is to be able to follow up. And now Motivate, they're pushing on for more. Actually, they won't catch any of the stragglers out, but all the lanes in a really solid position for Dire, so they're in a position now where you can sit around Roshan and wait for this to respawn.
There's good positioning by Boom Boy, right?
Yep.
Always wanting to be in the safest possible spot in every single team fight.
Oh, that is prime voice line usage. It's cool as well, the recognition they put, like, they are holding smokes for this this Night Stalker jump just to enable Boom Booey. Like exactly like you said, here's the person they look to jump. So let's try and protect the Bane as much as possible and take away one of the big advantages that Radiant have in this Dark Ascension.
Oh, he's been in good position again because he's going to scout out that Roche, instantly looking to take it. Who do we give this to? You reckon this is the tidal wave that they're looking to pick up here on Savage? Either that or Quap.
Yeah, you could consider Quap. I mean, Lena's is crap. Bane's is crap. Who did they give it to? Did they give it to Savage?
Q got it.
Yeah, okay.
I would have been pretty tilted if Q didn't get it, to be honest. It's such a great shot.
And, I mean, like you were saying before, like, his farm's now going to further increase as well. So if this goes to a little bit later of a game, then you're going to have a...
I don't feel like this one's going to last that much longer.
100% in agreement. 100% in agreement. But you take into consideration, then he can become more into a core. I mean, you got to do something. Your objectives are getting obliterated from this double damage. And, I mean, Centaur, that's the target you want to bring down. Jump in the eye. We've spoken a lot about Yangon looking to deal with the Bane, but for Motivate, it's all eyes on blowing up skill lane. They do that.
Radiant's top barracks has fallen.
And this is kind of what I was talking about. Whenever I refer to like the Quap versus the Lina, this is what I'm talking about. This is what you're able to do. Yes, it's influenced by the fact that he's got a double damage, but a Quap can't do this. A Quap can't siege and deal this much consistent damage in a team fight.
Dude,
Quap can't do that.
What was... Alright. I mean, you got a Lotus of the Lina who's still got BKB in ages, and Gacha Boy feels like he needs to pop it on the first life. Let's see how confident he feels now to stick around. 2 heroes buying back. Night Stalker's going to try and find the angle to jump it, but we saw what happened previously. Honestly, it might just turn around and rip him apart as well. I'm going to use the boat, but now with the Stampede, they'll push them further back, eyeing up the Night Stalker. A die back for the position. 3. Young PH is in the middle along with the Morphling, so they'll get rid of the first life, but still Motivate all their heroes. They're so goddamn tanky. Zorine into safety, though. They're going to be able to at least cancel off the Fiend, skip it off to the side. MG.Trust again runs into Young PH. The hoof stomp to control, making sure there's no escape. When Lena's still not even dead just yet. KSH is going to have to play off the back of the Queen of Cain replicate to go through the ethereal form. But regardless, 4 down and still up the high ground they go.
What else can do his best? It's morphing into the Queen of Pain. Not sure how effective that's going to be. It's just trying to clear out these waves as quickly as possible, but that backdoor protection is going to be just fine. We've also got that wave coming in on the top side of the map, so even doing his absolute best to try and push this, it's a ballsy move. Q will go down. He's got the Yules.
I mean, he's doing exactly what he has to do at this stage. You blow up the Bane, get rid of the supports, maybe make sure they don't have as much of a superiority in numbers, and then you can stall it out. But it is quite the economic damage. 2 full sets of barracks. And, I mean, this T3 down bottom's pretty much about to go down as well.
I hate the fact that a Conker just did 700 damage to a Lion. Just because, you know.
Oh, you don't like this hero right now? Or are you a Conker hater? What's going on?
Yes. Him and Wraith King are so stupid. You shouldn't be able to, like, nearly one-hit supports about 20 minutes into the game.
I'll tell you what, if you guys are Conker spammers out there, you better get your games in, because this hero is going to be nerfed into the grave. Like, we've seen him for
Weaver
quite...
too.
Yeah, Weaver. There's a lot. We were speaking about it yesterday. We're like, what heroes are really at the top of the list that are just not going to be in Dota for the next couple of months? And yeah, get your games in. Start building up the relics, because you're not going to see them. You're not going to see Zorain as well. Gacha Boy just blows up the line once again. I mean... We've seen some rough positioning this game from the support, and now they're going to eye up the Night Stalker as well on the high ground. But they've got to keep in mind, though, MG.Trust... I mean, that's a hoof stomp to end all games here. On to 3. Boom Booey finds a control as well, and Motivate. Their first game with Savage looking really, really good.
Really, really solid. And for those that didn't know, this might have a little bit more meaning for Motivate.Trust. Obviously, they've had a bit of a rough time in recent months, with obviously being relegated down to Division 2, but it is Fearless's birthday as well. So make sure you go to all of Gacha Boy's socials and wish him a happy birthday. They haven't done it completely yet. This is just game number 1, but he is now 26 years of age. So still a young, sprightly lad, and he Performed very well that game, like 16, 2, and 6. He certainly got that birthday power up.
He did get that birthday power up. He wait, hang on, what? Are you seeing? Okay.
Oh.
I
Oh.
don't know what's going on. So we'll speak
We'll
about that
talk,
after.
we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we need to find out what's going on. So it's of course chat's not really gonna like that. We kind of just left them on a bit of a cliffhanger there. But with game one, Motivate look exceptionally strong. We saw the lane starting relatively well for Yangon, but really that one fight around the triangle completely turned it around. We're able to get those 3 kills, the triple/quad stack, whatever it was, and from there, Motivate, they never looked back. Firm control of the entirety of this game, taking it in 34 minutes fashion here with a 10-33 kill count. So yeah, exceptional start for Motivate. We'll keep you guys updated.
We'll talk about it later.
There's stuff going on, so we'll keep you guys updated with next game. We'll send to a break, and we'll see you guys shortly for some more close qualifier action.